Hey guys, and welcome to the channel. My name is Elizabeth, and I share information, tips, and ideas on how to live a happier and healthier life. We talk a lot about financial education, being successful, the mindsets and emotions that come up along the way, and some encouragement as well. But today we're going to talk about the Millionaire Fastlane. And so I have a lot of videos on this channel if you just want to save your first $1,000, maybe your first $10,000, $100,000, maybe even more. I could do more videos on that as well. How to invest, some of these basic things. I even have some on getting out of debt. And so if that's the level you're at, go ahead and look into that. But I wanted to share the Millionaire Fastlane, and this is something my husband and I have been doing, is getting on the Millionaire Fastlane. Yes, if you invest enough money in the S&P 500, then you can become a millionaire faster in 10 years, 5 years, etc. If you put enough money in. Typically, though, it needs a lot more time to compound. But the Millionaire Fastlane was recommended to me by Ali Abdal, who has 5.5 million subscribers on YouTube. He was a doctor and entrepreneur. He's super successful, and he has a lot of great insights and is a great teacher to the world. And he suggested one of the books to become wealthier was the $1 Million Weekend, which is by Noah Kagan, which I've read as well, but also the Millionaire Fastlane. And honestly, it's so good. It's so thick and has so many insights. I could pull it up in just a minute if you want and show you, but I want to share some more insights and takeaways. I have a video on the channel from some of the summaries and the takeaways from the summary, but I'm going to go with some more detail on some of the key things that I took away that will help us to become millionaires and multimillionaires a lot faster. Let's do it. All right, so this is the Millionaire Fastlane. And so I have lots of stickies and we have highlights and notes, things of that nature. And so it's pretty thick and dense. He had recommended, Ali did, to maybe get the audiobook, but I really enjoyed this and I really enjoyed getting to flip through. I love being able to take a pen, a highlighter, and actually physically have this copy. So I don't need that for every book. I know some people really like the Kindles, and so feel free to do that as well, but I just really enjoyed this. And he talks about being able to spend money, like $20 on education. Yes, you could go to the library. I've done that plenty of times in my life, but there's certain books that you just want to get and read. And so let's go ahead and talk about the key lessons that I've learned. And the fast lane is how you will get to wealth faster. Let's do it. All right, so the first lesson is that there are 3 levels to wealth. So you could be on the path of the sidewalk, you could be in the slow lane, or you could be in the fast lane. And so the sidewalk, these are people that are just going around in life. They're in debt. They're not paying themselves first. They're not investing at all. And so they're not even thinking about their finances or their financial futures at all. The slow lane is a step up. You're starting to actually think about your financial education. You're starting to think about your financial future. You might be investing. You might be paying yourself first. You might be doing some of these habits, but you're typically on that path of investing in index funds, which is great. Like, I highly advocate for this, and I did that as well, and I'm still doing that. But it's gonna take time. Unless you can put a ton of money in every single month, maybe you'll get there faster. Like my husband and I, we are getting there faster because we have been able to put a lot more money in every single month, but not everyone can do that. And so he talks about the fast lane, which is typically by starting a business, doing something that provides a lot of value to people, and getting in a vehicle that might take 10 years, but at least it's not 40 or 50 years, so that you can actually enjoy your life more. And I know with saving and investing and trying to get your first 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, those types of things, it takes time, and you have to really reduce your lifestyle, especially if you don't make like a huge amount of money. And even if you make a huge amount of money, you could have lived a certain life, but you might reduce it to be able to pay yourself. And so MJ DeMarco, the author, talks about, like, you don't want to live poor forever, or he didn't want to live poor forever. He wanted to actually spend his money. He wanted to invest and have enough money in the bank, but he also didn't want to just spend and be so frugal for his whole life where he couldn't enjoy more things. And so if you want to be on the fast lane, then let's get into it. All right, so a good chunk of this book, actually, a lot of it, the first half probably, talks about things I already knew, and like being in the slow lane, the sidewalk, and like trying to convince you on why you should maybe get off of it, and why it's bad, or why it's not helpful, and why it can't help you provide wealth. And so I'm going to be talking about more of the things in the fast lane and how the fast lane can specifically help you. So if you're on a different level, or if you're not interested in it, then you don't have to watch, but I'll put the timestamps too, so you can go to any spot that would be helpful to you. So the first thing is the Law of Effection. The The law of affection states that the more people you affect or that you impact, the more likely you will be able to make more money, the richer you'll become. So i.e. like athletes or even YouTube, like if I can reach more people as a teacher, if I'm teaching online or helping people online, I can reach more people than I could in just a regular school where you maybe have 500, 1,000, 1,500 kids. You can reach the whole world. It doesn't mean that they're all going to come to your channel or work with you or resonate with what you're saying, but you're expanding to the world instead of just one place. And same thing with athletes, right? Athletes get paid more because they affect more people. They entertain millions of people. And so that's why professional athletes get paid more. It's because they entertain millions of dollars and make a lot of money for these people and provide value to them. Value is the key. So providing value, but also affecting. So if you can provide value to people and to a lot of people, you're more likely to become wealthier. The second thing that I thought was interesting is the pay yourself first law. So I talk about this all the time. I've done this since I was a little girl, is paying myself first as my first bill. But I thought it was interesting because he says, even if you do that, you technically aren't paying yourself first. You are with what you can control and then your bills and things. But technically you already paid the government first, which I was like, oh yeah, duh. So I'm like, dang it. And so if you get in the Millionaire Fastlane or if you have a business, you actually make all that money yourself first. If you sell products, you get the money back to yourself first, and then you have to go pay the government on taxes. But there's also some tax loopholes and things you can do to reduce the amount of taxes that you have. So you get to actually pay yourself first if you own a business instead of just paying yourself first, which you are. You're doing what you can with a traditional job because you technically already paid the government first. MJ DeMarco talks a lot about empowering yourself and actually taking action, and he gives a little tough love, but he says that it's important to know what makes a poor person or how they get to be poor, because we're all just people, right? And so the leading cause of poorness is poor choices and how we react to the hand that we're dealt. So some things we can't help. Like you could be like, the leading cause of poorness is poor choices. Seriously? Like I didn't choose to be born in poverty. I didn't choose this. But there are ways to get out of some of these things, or maybe you started with a good hand and then you made poor choices, right? And so he talks a lot about choices and the impacts, and like he goes into some of his own stories about drinking and driving and impacting people, and he could have hurt people. And so really think about that. It's your choice. It's your choice. Maybe you didn't choose who you were born to. You definitely didn't choose that. But what can you do now about it? Because now this is your life. And so are you going to make choices to make your life better, or are you just going to stay stuck? It's up to you. Next thing is to actually calculate the cost of things. And so I've done this before where we talk about, hey, I want to buy a new iPhone. Okay, it's $1,000. How many hours is that going to take to get there? And so actually calculate the cost of things and going, whoa, that's like 50 hours of work. Oh my gosh. I don't know if I really want the new iPhone and upgrading like that, right? And so you could think about that just with a general principle, just in general, or you could think about that with building wealth, is thinking about how much would something cost. And so my lifestyle, my ideal lifestyle is going to cost $200,000. So what can I sell? What can I do that would create me that much money? But just be mindful and think about how much things cost instead of just like, oh, that's $1,000, that's $2,000. How much of your time and labor and energy and effort did that cost? Next thing is that opportunity doesn't care about timing. So you might try to be making it the perfect time, or you want to feel the best, or there's a lot going on. You might get an opportunity and that's the time. There could be a lot going on, but maybe that is your opportunity. So always be looking for opportunities. Always be looking for things. I do talk about a no is a yes is a no. So sometimes you can say no to things or yes to certain things to say yes to the things you want. But be on the lookout for opportunities because they're all around, and you'll be surprised when you get an opportunity, and maybe you need to jump on it even if you weren't expecting it or ready for it. Marco also talks about the time excuse, like, I don't have enough time. I can't make enough time. You're not making enough time. So he talks about driving university. If you need to learn something, learn and turn on a podcast while you're driving. I do this. Exercise university, when you're exercising, go ahead and learn as well. When you're waiting in line or waiting for something, how can you take advantage of that time? When you're on the toilet, take advantage of that time. When you're at a job, maybe your job, you have some downtime. Use that, right? TV time, maybe when you're watching TV, can you pair a task? So there's always time. It's a matter of getting creative and a matter of making that time and being intentional. I think sometimes if we don't know what we want to do, like you're not planning to exercise and you're like, oh, I can't make it to the gym and I don't have time to go to the gym, but it's like, do you watch TV? You know what? You could probably watch TV and do a little workout while you're doing that, right? And so get creative, stop making excuses. You're either going to make excuses or you're going to make it happen. All right, we talked about the law of affection. And so if you're able to provide value, and then you provide value to a large amount of people, you affect or impact a lot of people, you're more likely to be wealthier and be wealthier faster. But he also talks about the sense framework. And so you can add this framework in to see if it will bring you wealth as well. So the commandment of control, how much control do you talk about? He goes really in depth in the book on this if you're interested, but like, how can you control the outcomes? Can you control the outcomes? The commandment of entry, is it easy to enter this space? Is it easy to succeed in this space? Think about that. The commandment of need, right? It's an acronym, CENTS. The need, is it a need? Do people actually want it? Do people need it? Is your service making things better? T, time, the commandment of time. How much time is it going to take? Time to help. Do you have the time to put in? And then scale. Can you scale it? Can you make it big, right? If you just have a little shop in your hometown, you can't necessarily scale that unless you had a franchise or something. And so he really goes in depth on the sense framework, which I think is valuable. And if you're interested in a more in-depth video on that, it really is many pages of the book, but I'm happy to do a video specifically on the sense framework. If you're interested, let me know. When you're trying to come up with your business idea, you need to realize, is it actually a need? Is it something that people want? Is it something that people need? And that's it. Like, if people don't need it, then don't create it, right? You want to put value out there that actually is a need. So think about that. Sometimes we could come up with an idea and we think it'd be so much fun, but it's not just about making it fun. It is about providing and solving a need that someone has. I'm going to talk about 2 more things that I think could really help you guys. I really recommend this book if you're interested on building wealth faster or interested in starting your own business or something. But he talks about the mind posts or the mindsets, which we talk about on this channel as well. I have lots of videos if you want to check it out. But debt perception. If you want to become wealthier and wealthier fast, then you have to realize that debt is useful if it allows you to build and grow your system, right? And so that's why I've been putting more money in. I'm not necessarily getting in debt, but being able to use debt or leverage debt because it can make you more money. So doing it in a smart way. A lot of people think of debt poorly because they don't use debt to help them. They use debt to hurt them. So it doesn't have to be bad. Time perception. Time is the most important asset that you have that far exceeds money. And so being really careful with your time, intentional with your time. I'm thinking of reviewing and reading Dan Martell, which I have a video on my channel as well if you're interested in him, the $100 million CEO plus. He has a book called Buy Back Your Time. So how can you buy back your time? Because it's so valuable. Education perception. Constant expansion of knowledge is your calling and what is needed. Those who keep learning will keep rising. You have to keep learning. Money is everywhere, right? There's no lack, and it's extremely abundant. Money is simply reflecting how many lives I've impacted and how many people I've touched and the value that I've created, right? It's just about creating value. Like, if you have a lot of money, that doesn't mean you're a bad person. That probably means you impacted a lot of people and helped a lot of people. Income you earn from your business systems and from your investments. And then also, the wealth equation is net profit plus your asset value. Might be wondering, how do I get on the fast lane? And so if you're interested, on page 113, it has a whole list of what actually would be an example of getting on the fast lane. And so this could be the founder who creates a new type of natural deodorant and sells the business for $100 million to Procter & Gamble after 4 years. So they started this deodorant company and then they ended up selling it to Procter & Gamble and made a ton of money. It could be the entrepreneur who sells razors under a subscription model while leveraging clever and humorous marketing and sells it for $1 billion to Unilever. These are all things that actually did happen. It could be the guy who patents a product and then he licenses it to a Fortune 500 company. It could be someone who builds a blog and then sells it 3 years later for $4 million. It could be the guy who builds a smartphone application and sells it 50,000 times. So anything that you create and then sell, right? And so anything that you provide value with, it could be any type of business. It could be writing online. It could be inventing a product. Any of those things. I'll put some here if I can. All right, so that's a little bit more information on the Millionaire Fastlane and how to start thinking more like a Fastlane person would. And so yes, do all the other things. Remember, if you aren't there yet, or if you're not ready to start that, then go start the other levels, get out of debt, Go do the things. Maybe you're the type of person who you're in a lot of debt and you're like, you know what, I'm going to get on this fast lane and it's going to propel me further faster, and you're going to take those risks. Then go for it. Maybe you're like, I want to go a step at a time, get out of debt. I want to build up an emergency fund. I want to build up money for myself. Cool. Maybe you're like, hey, I really like investing in index funds. I don't know about the business. I'm not sure what I want to do. Then that's totally fine. But I just want to give you options and show you what's out there, and so that you can make your own choice on what to do. All right, so that ends the video. I hope this was helpful for you. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Feel free to like and subscribe for more. You've got this. Keep learning, working, and growing. Keep building the life that you love and you enjoy. Know that you can do anything you put your mind to. I'm excited to see what you can do. Bye, guys. You got this.